So what the way I understand this is I'm gonna say what comes to my mind when I hear the word overrated. Correct?
Correct.
All right. So the first thing that popped in my mind was Jon Feliciano.
Hmm.
Good answer.
I was completely on board with letting Jon Feliciano walk this year. I do think he provides an edge and a grit on the offensive line. But as far as the actual pass blocking goes, I think he's a below average pass blocker. I think he's a completely reasonable run blocker. But given to the fact that the league is trending toward passing more, I don't think that that's as valuable of a skill, run blocking, as pass blocking is. I think it's important. It's good, it's good to be good at things. So I always want to have people who are good at everything. But I was okay with the contract they signed him. I was glad it wasn't what the Spotrac contract was projected, which was $8 million a year. I thought that was a vast overpayment for Jon Feliciano. I'm glad to see that you could potentially get an interior swing lineman out of Jon Feliciano if you found a player who was better suited at right guard and you wanted to put him there. It wouldn't be a complete waste of assets to be able to put Jon Feliciano as a swing interior lineman. I think they like Jon Feliciano. I think there's a possibility that he could be the starting center next year based on the way that things have been trending with this organization and Mitch Morse. And I think that when it comes to Jon Feliciano and you looking at my pending free agents, for me, it was Darrell Williams, Matt Milano, ginormous gap, Jon Feliciano, as far as order of prioritization when it comes to re-signing. I'm glad they re-signed Matt Milano, and I'm glad they re-signed Darrell Williams. When they re-signed Jon Feliciano, I was like, okay, that's fine, whatever, it's fine. But I think that our assumption that that spot is fine, like, oh, well, we have Jon Feliciano, yeah, we're good there. I still think it's a very upgradable spot at right guard. I was actually kind of hoping that they might pick an interior lineman early in the draft to be able to do that. But my first thing that came to mind when you said it was Jon Feliciano, just because I think that Bills fans, value him as a strong member of a starting offensive line more than I do.
Yeah, Feliciano for me, I think with the team, I think he brings some of that leadership and the grit and the tenacity to the team, and I think that's part of why he's so loved. He's a locker room guy, right? But kind of watching him play, I think it's pretty obvious that that's an upgradable position. I think I actually had in the hot take episode we did, I actually kind of played out a scenario where it was kind of between him and Cody Ford, and one of them ending up getting benched, and it was kind of, taking this stretch reach that we see something pretty wild in Spencer Brown throughout the training camp preseason process. And, maybe it doesn't happen week one, but the talent's there that we can't ignore. He comes along a little faster than we anticipate. And maybe we see him take a tackle spot and be able to kick Darrell Williams into a guard spot, which he used to play. So I think Feliciano's the type of guy that, he was a little bit hampered by the injury last year. So, we got to kind of see how they all play together. But he's definitely a guy that's going to be having a lot of eyeballs from me on watching game tape.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys pretty much covered it all, so I'll try to deviate as best as I can here. I think when I think of Jon Feliciano, I think of his versatility on the interior offensive line. You mentioned swing guard, and he can play center, and Bruce forecasted that he could possibly replace Mitch Morse down the line, which would be, it'd be a good use of resources. Pay one person to potentially fill three spots. That's why I think the Bills love a player like Ryan Bates, and why they sign people in the past like Spencer Long, because they could do that stuff. However, when you bring in these type of players, you can't expect them to be elite or above average at everything they do, because that's not who they are. They're jack of all trades, master of none. And if you think if you think Jon Feliciano is like an elite, pass blocking guard, watch those Chief games. Look how he holds up against an elite defensive tackle in Chris Jones. It doesn't go well for anyone actually who matched up with him. So I agree with you guys. It's just not he's not that good, and that's okay. We can have criticism of these players
as long as we don't tag them in Twitter.
Yes.
Never.
Yes, don't do that.